You done went out and got that new interface, and you don't know what to do with it? You don't know how to use it or even what the whole point of an interface is? Don't worry. Wavy got you. What's up, family? Welcome back to another Wavy Way tip of the day. I'm Wavy Wayne, and I'm here to help y'all out. Now, today's video is definitely going to be for beginners. I'm going to be showing y'all how to set up your audio interface, how to use it in your home recording studio setup or wherever the hell you might be. If you're new to the channel, I drop videos like this at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times, man. So make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you know you're going to get some value out this video too. So you might as well hit that like button right now. Before we talk about setting up the interface, let's talk about what the job of an audio interface is and why the hell you might even need one, okay? So basically, an audio interface, the point of it is to take your analog signal that's coming from your microphone. So when you speak into a microphone, it's going to create some electrical impulses that's going to travel down the XLR cable, and your computer don't know what the hell to do with that data, right? Well, you know, most computers have a sound card or something now, but they don't have professional level inputs for your XLR, right? That's where an audio interface is going to come into play. When you need to convert that analog signal over to a digital signal that can be read by the computer. All analog to digital conversion is not created equal. So the quality of your audio is going to be determined by the quality of that analog to digital conversion based on what interface you have. So that's why you want to go with a professional quality audio interface to get the best possible signal while you are recording. The next primary job of the audio interface is now to convert that digital signal, that ones and zeros, back into a signal that we can hear. So it also does digital to analog conversion. So you got A to D, analog to digital conversion, and then you got D to A, digital to analog conversion. The A to D conversion happens on the input of the audio interface where your mic is plugged in or whatever source you are recording. That is going to happen on the input. And then once you've processed everything inside your computer, the output of your audio interface also is doing digital to analog conversion, going back to your headphones or studio monitors. Now, the audio interface also has your preamp, which is going to amplify your mic signal to get it up to an audible level, because mic signals are pretty low, and without a preamp, you pretty much it's unuseful. On most audio interfaces, you'll also find phantom power. Some microphones, like the one that I am going to be using today, condenser microphones, require additional power for them to work. Your audio interface provides that power, sends it out to the microphone to power it up. And that would be the 48 volts phantom power that you might see on your audio interface. A good audio interface will also allow you to control your monitoring level. So maybe this is the headphone level of the output, or maybe the studio monitors. You will have control over that as well. So that's the primary functions of the audio interface. So let's just go ahead and get into how we would set up our audio interface. So what I have here is my Apollo Twin, okay? Make sure we coordinate. So the audio interface that I'm using today is going to be my Apollo Twin Duo, but most of this stuff will apply to whatever audio interface you are using. It just depends on, some stuff might be labeled differently or in a different location, or it's different to access it. But for the most part, this is all going to apply, okay? So the first thing that you want to do with your audio interface is make sure that it's powered up. If there is any power cable or anything like that that needs to be connected, then you want to go ahead and connect that. This particular audio interface has a power cable. Let me just make sure you can see that. Yep. This particular audio interface has its own power supply. Other audio interfaces may just be powered by the USB or whatever kind of connection is going into your computer. So you might not even have to worry about that step, okay? This one also has an on-off switch, which we're not going to activate just yet. But if you have a bus powered or basically a USB powered or whatever is being powered by your computer, then there probably won't be an on off switch. As soon as you plug it in, you will notice that the audio interface is turned on. Now, for best practice, you want to have your computer shut down while you are powering up your audio interface. That's the best practice. You want to have your monitors off and you want to have your computer shut down. Now, of course, some audio interfaces work very well on plug and play, like the one I have right now. This is going to work perfectly. I never ran into problems, but most manufacturers recommend that you have the computer shut down while you are powering up your interface. And of course, if you're using external studio monitors, you want to make sure that their outputs are also powered down. Basically, what I need to do is connect my audio interface to the computer, and then I'm going to go ahead and get it powered up so that we can take a look at everything that's on this audio interface. Then I will connect my microphone, connect my headphones and my studio monitors, and set the best mic level to get started. All right, so since of course I'm using my MacBook Pro right now, I have to have this dongle that y'all can see here on screen. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect to the dongle life. And then I'm going to connect this to my audio interface, or you can do it vice versa. Doesn't really matter. Cool. And also, I guess at this time too, it'll make sense for me to go ahead and connect my microphone to the audio interface. And so let's just go ahead and do that. Here's my mic. I'm just going to take my cable and plug it into a microphone. Now, if you need help with knowing how to set up your microphone properly, I have another video for that, so you can check that out. I'll leave a link to it somewhere over the rainbow. So here we go. Now onto my audio interface. What you want to do here on the back of it, you have input. So I got mic line input 1, and then I have mic line input 2. It doesn't matter which one you use. Let's just use 1 since this is the only input source. And this is a basically a combo jack, to where if you had a 1/4 inch input, you could plug in a 1/4 inch input as well as an XLR. Well, either or, not both at the same time, obviously, but you can choose which one that you need to use and plug that in. So it is a combo jack. It's not just your standard XLR input back here. So that's very helpful. While we back here, I might as well show y'all the monitor inputs or outputs as well. So on this interface, I do have additional outputs. Depending on your interface, you may have more or less outputs or inputs available. But on this particular interface, I do have my monitor outputs. This is what's going to go out to my studio monitors, marked left and right. And then I have 2 additional line level outputs that I could use to go wherever I might need them in the studio. Maybe I'm setting up an alternate Q mix, or I'm sending out to some hardware processors in the studio. That's what those could be possibly used for. So I got my mic set up, well, plugged in, and now, all right, now that the mic is plugged in, let's go ahead and connect the studio monitors. So as we've seen that the outputs for the monitors are 1/4 inch TRS cables. So I'm just going to need 2 of those 1/4 inch TRS to go from the audio interface into the studio monitors. So when I am connecting to my studio monitors, I always use balanced cables. And most of the time I use these cables that go like this, right? To where it's a 1/4 inch on one side, because most of the time the output, let me just make sure, I'll just bring this in. Let's see. Get that. Come on, man. The monitor cables that I like to use or go from 1/4 inch TRS to XLR on one end. Now, most interfaces just like this one will have a 1/4 inch output only available. If I could go from XLR to XLR, I definitely would do that. But most interfaces only have a 1/4 inch output to go to your monitors. And then, but most studio monitors will allow you to either come in at 1/4 inch or using XLR. So I prefer to go to the XLR. So that's why I use a cable like this one, a little split cable like that. Well, not a split cable, but you get what I'm saying, a 2-headed cable. So with this, I'm just going to take the 1/4 inch in. The left one will obviously be connected to whichever monitor is going to be on my left side. And then the right cable this one is going to be connected to the right monitor. Okay, so you got those two cables in there like that. Make sure that they're pushed in nicely, and then you'll be good to go. You just connect the other ends to the back of your studio monitors. Now, I already got my monitor set up, so I don't want to crawl behind my desk to pull the plugs out and put them back in. But you see the point here. You basically just take the monitor outputs from your interface. Now, if you're just using TRS to TRS, that's perfectly fine as well. I just prefer to go from TRS to XLR. Next up, let's just talk about connecting the headphones, because you definitely gonna need some headphones if you plan to do any recording. You can't just record with the studio monitors playing all loud. So I'm just gonna grab my headphones, my Sennheiser HD 280 Pros. I do have a Wavy Wayne prototype headphones in back here in the studio. So I've been actually working with a couple companies on developing my own headphones. So if y'all interested in that, let me know down in the comments if y'all would possibly cop some Wavy Wayne headphones. But in the meantime, until my own custom pair is ready, I rock with the Sennheiser HD 280 Pros. And of course, all of the gear that I'm talking about today, you can find it on my Amazon affiliate link in the description, baby. All right, so for the actual headphones though, there is an input on the front. Now most interfaces will have this because they know that you're going to need to access the headphones pretty often, so they will have some type of a input for you to be able to connect your headphones. So I'm just gonna plug my 1/4-inch headphones in right there, and I'm good to go. Everything that I need to have set up is set up, and what I just need to do now is go ahead and power on the audio interface. All right, so now that the interface is powered on, let's just take a look at some of the controls that we have here. All right, so I'd have my preamp control. Again, most of the time for y'all, you probably just gonna have a preamp knob. Maybe it will say gain, okay? Now the gain control, that will basically determine how loud you are making your microphone, how sensitive you're making that microphone. So on channel 1 preamp control, I got the preamp selected. All I do is use this big knob in the middle to turn the gain up on that microphone, right? And here's also my input meter. It's very important to always look at your meters. If you have a meter on the interface, that's great. You can look at that. But if not, you will have meters inside of whatever DAW you are using inside the software. So that would be another good place to look. But one thing I need to do for this microphone, like I said before, was to activate the phantom power. And so you'll see a button, maybe it's a switch or a knob, or whoever knows what kind of interface you may have. It may be a switch, a knob, a button, whatever. But in this case, there's a little button that says plus 48V. I'm going to click that. It'll flash a couple times on this particular interface. And now on the input, we see that we are getting an input signal. Now that input signal seems to be a little quiet, so I'm just going to turn it up. Yeah. So whenever I'm talking into the mic, I just want to get a nice strong signal. I don't want it to be clipping, but that is looking like a strong signal. Obviously, if you turn it up and you start seeing red on any of your meters, that is a big problem, a red flag. Having a little bit of orange is okay, but it's definitely an indicator that you're getting pretty close. So that's good. I think this will be a good strong level. I'm hitting that orange, but I ain't hitting the red. So I would say that I'm happy with this input level right here. Now, some other stuff that you might see on your interface, you might have a filter, right? This is my high pass filter. This is by activating this will just roll off any low frequencies. Well, not any low frequencies, but the super low frequencies that just aren't needed in most cases, depending on what you're recording. Most of the time, I don't mess with that. And then you also have a pad. Now, if I'm recording something extremely loud, and let's say I turn this all the way down and boom, boom, I'm still getting clipping because for whatever reason, maybe it's a kick drum or a snare or something like that, it has just been extremely loud. Or you got Lil Jon in the booth talking about some turn down for what? It's so loud, and you just gotta hit the pad. Now the pad will, depending on the interface, will attenuate the input level by 10 to 20 dB, somewhere in there generally. We also have, what's that, the phase? We also had a phase reverse switch. So if you're recording something in stereo, most of the time you'll run into some phasing issues, but for the most part, most of us don't need to worry about that. And of course, we have a link button on this particular interface that's going to be used for if I am recording something in stereo, like maybe a keyboard or something like that, and I want the gain of both the left and the right channels to be linked, then you just hit that link button and it will link both of them so you can record in your stereo signal. Yeah, so another thing about this, so right now I'm on the preamp side. If I go to monitor, it just changes this whole big knob to control my headphone level, or if I push it again, it will control the monitor level for the output of the speakers. Okay, so yours may have separate knobs for each one of them, but that's what they do. So the monitor, that's going to be my speaker level that we plug those two 1/4-inch cables into, and then headphones, that's going to determine the level of my headphones here. And again, if I want to change back and control the level of my actual mic preamp, I just hit the preamp button over here, and then we can do that right there very easily. There is a high Z input, so if you are recording any guitars, bass guitars, or anything like that, any high Z instrument inputs, you can just plug it in directly there, and that will give you your high Z input. So the input button on this particular interface determines whether you are recording a microphone or a line level signal. So let's say maybe you plugged in your microphone and you're not getting any signal on your meters, nothing in your DAW, then maybe your interface is looking for a line level signal. So if you see when I hit that, the whole input went away. No matter how much I turn this up, I'm not getting any input there because my interface is looking for a line level signal that would be plugged into that combo jack back there into the 1/4-inch line level input. Okay, so like a line level signal would be like a keyboard, for example, or some type of synthesizer that you might be recording in. So, but if you just make sure that you are on mic, and you see there is even a mic line indicator to where it gives me the mic input level. And if I hit that, it lets me know that it's looking for a line level right there. So boom, that's pretty much all the controls on this audio interface. And one thing that I would just recommend is that you watch the meters as you are recording. Don't just set it and forget it. Your artist or client or yourself, you might get a little too excited, too loud, or whatever, or maybe too quiet. You might need to make some adjustments during the recording. So make sure that you keep an eye on your meters while you're recording, and you should be good. All right, y'all, thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful at all, make sure that you hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We are on the road to 100,000, and you know I can't do it without you. So make sure you hook me up like I be hooking y'all up. All right, if you ever need professional mixing services, visit wavy.com, fill out my form, and I will get you a quote as soon as possible. You know what I'm talking about? And of course, you know, on that website wavy.com, I got a bunch of templates to help recording and mixing go a whole lot smoother and faster for you guys. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching, and be dope.